Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with my friend, Michael James. Can't wait to have this conversation. He's the Senior Director of Business Strategy at SuiteAmerica, coming to us from Sacktown, Sacramento, California. What's up, Michael James? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Are you actually in Sacramento right now, or did I just make that leap?
I'm close enough. Sac area would be right. I'm more up in the foothills, kind of on the way to like South Lake Tahoe for the people that know the area.
I feel like South Lake Tahoe is kind of like a humble brag, kind of little like, I feel like you slept that in. It's more
in
like
my backyard.
Tahoe,
no big deal.
Actually, yeah, very cool, awesome. Look at this, Mike Quigley, MJ in the house, the GOAT. I feel like we have the wrong interview here, Quigs. I don't know if you know this, but I mean, no offense, Michael James is amazing, but I mean, MJ the GOAT. I mean, people might be slightly confused at this point right now, but
true.
You know,
I appreciate it, man.
Quickly just throwing words around here in the chat here. Get in the chat here. Throw some comments out there. Anything goes on Love and Reload. If you got questions for Michael James, one of the all-time just great all-around people in our business. And I don't just say that to everyone. I do say it's probably half the people, but I don't say it to everyone. No, Michael James is one of those really, really great people. We've done some really cool stuff together from a charitable standpoint. What are some of the charities that you've supported through our industry, Michael?
Well, Move for Hunger has been near and dear to our organization's heart. Our president asked me to get more involved and kind of be our representative with them like 4 or 5 years ago. So a couple of years ago, I got to join the CAN committee with you guys. And it's been a great, just a great time so far. And we look for every way to support them. We support some other local nonprofits here in the area. We do something through CASA, which is like court appointed special advocates. So we do some work through them and do like a lunch drive for our office at our headquarters and stuff. So definitely our president and CEO, they're very passionate about that kind of stuff.
That's really, I didn't know about the court appointed advocate stuff. That's that's important. Hope I don't ever need that, but that's really important.
I know, right?
I appreciate you supporting that.
It helps get actually, it's a really cool organization for folks who want to do more, but it really helps children that have come into the system and their parents are out of the picture really, and they need some kind of adult, help and somebody to be there. And so it's been a really great organization to help support.
Yeah, that's really important stuff. My dad's done some of that in Tulsa, Oklahoma too, with nice. Kids. I mean, kids need advocates. I mean, everyone needs an advocate when you're, in that situation, but kids especially. So appreciate that. Yeah. So I mean, there's stuff I didn't even know about here, but I mean, we've done some cool stuff together and grew a really ugly mustache.
We sure did, dude.
Oh, so gnarly, dude. And like, it was just gnarly. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't that ugly, but just it's seeing yourself with a mustache. If you get in the comments, if you've ever grown a mustache, if you participated in Movember or you've grown a mustache or whatever, or maybe you just rock the Ted Lasso on the daily and that's just your go-to, and that's cool too. But there's something like when you don't wear it and then you got it. What was that like, Michael?
Oh, it was, it took some getting used to. And then especially, of course, then you have to go with, do you want to keep going with the mustache or do you shave it all off and start again? And I don't know what's more shocking. My wife was not a fan of the mustache, but then also people are just blown away because I always have facial hair. And when you go back to zero, I look like a kid, like a little baby. So I do need to keep this.
Little baby Michael James,
baby face, man.
It's well, yeah. So you have this pirate up here, and then this baby down here, and it's just shocking. It's something about it. Shout out to Scott O'Neill who also did that with us. He probably had the nicest stash of anyone. He had the Fu Manchu, I think it was. It went all the way down.
Dude, he rocks it, man. He's a great guy. Mickey Sacks.
Yeah, it was really cool doing that with y'all at Vinny's house. I think we filmed a Love and Reload. Mickey Sacks. Tell me a little bit about what that means.
Well, I've this industry has given me a lot of different nicknames, which I love. So the most recent one is Mickey Sacks. I was blessed with that by some amazing folks. Judy over at Holder Construction and Katie with Marriott. We were all together at the Sudeth Sterling Lexicon Forum, and cocktails are being had. We're having a great old time. And we were just talking. I'm MJ. I'm Michael James. Actually, a lot of people that meet me think that sometimes that's my entire name, Michael James. I'm like, that's my first and last. It's not my first name. But people just call me whatever. I answer to it. And so Mickey Sacks was born at that thing. And
I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
said Michael James is not your first name.
It's my first and last name, but not my. Everybody has just called me Michael James for so long that people get surprised. They think it's hyphen.
Name first name.
Yep. So I'm
That's
like,
funny.
but Mickey Sachs is the new one. I'm rocking that one. I got a hat with the name on it. So yeah, it's. I'm gonna rock it through 2023. Oh, Tila.
I love it.
Tila was
And
there. Tila knows.
Tila knows. How many cocktails did you have to give
You
Michael
know,
James before he became Mickey Sachs?
Oh man, it was a wild night. I believe Tila and I closed the dance floor that evening. But they got some good people over there, man. And when you're in Florida and the weather's nice and
Things are happening. Just
oh yeah, Tila's
humidity's
asking,
just right on the barometer, you
oh
know.
dude, Tila's getting the band to stay an hour late. I mean, we were having a great time. That was a great event.
That sounds like a great event. This is great. Tanya saying, bring out the hat. What's up, Tanya?
Oh, Tanya, my friend. I should have grabbed the hat. Damn, I'll see what I can do. I should rock it.
Somebody get him at. If somebody's in the James residence right now watching this, bring him. He's gonna. There
I'm texting right now. Don't you worry.
Phone it in. Phone a friend. Look at this. Tila saying Mickey can vibe.
I sure can.
Mickey, you're so fine. You're so
fine. My dancing gets better the more I drink. So you know, it's that was a good time. Good time.
This is. We got some help coming.
Oh, see, my wife's on it. She's gonna be bringing the hat to me in no time.
Elena James is on it.
Yep.
Shout out to Elena James. Look at that. Look at this. We would be nothing. We would be nothing without the women in our lives.
100%.
We'd just be on here with no hats. Katie says, no matter what name we use, he's still legendary.
Oh, Katie Rudnick, how I love you.
Put some more little known facts about Michael James. Everybody, let's get in here. I think I'm feeling a lot of love right now.
So much love. So much love.
Put in the comments your favorite little fact about Mickey Sachs.
Yeah, keep it in there, but let's keep it PG, folks. Let's keep it PG. Okay.
Your call, whatever. Dealer's choice. Adam here checking in. Shout out to super producer Adam making it all happen. Tanya Maratini says, shout out to both of you for your support of Move for Hunger.
You bet.
Yeah, and thank you, Tanya, actually, who's been leading the charge there.
Oh, huge champion. Yeah, she's amazing.
Tanya's incredible. I actually thought about Tanya this past weekend. I meant to reach out to Tanya. And I just want to say, Tanya, you're an incredible person. You're an inspiration to all of us. The way she just goes the extra mile, dedicates herself, super smart,
and
great
she's
heart.
One hell of a trivia partner. I'll let you know that. So if you ever get a chance to do a little pub trivia with Tanya, you're gonna have a good evening.
You know, that's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not usually a trivia night person, but if I have a stacked team, I just like to win, and I always get housed to trivia. But if we could stack the deck, maybe get a little Tanya Maratini in there.
Yep.
You know, yeah. This could be good. Deb Convery in the house.
What up, Deb?
One of the very best.
Oh, she's the best. Oh, I've got some good friends in our industry. There are some good people here, that's for sure.
Look at this. We got Brazil in the house. This is great.
I love it.
Hashtag sweet cakes.
That's our trivia name. Yep, for sure.
Nice. This is good. PG-13, y'all. Just remember. Okay. This is great. But I've gotten to know you over the last few years.
Yep.
Through Move for Hunger, through going out to Portland and doing some stuff on the West Coast. But tell me a little bit about I'm really curious. Like, how did you get into this business? Because I never actually found that out.
Yeah, sure. I fell into it like probably about 95% of the rest of us. But I came from banking and finance. I worked for a small town bank. I loved working for them. It was family owned. When I got hired there, I got to have lunch with the CEO, things that just companies don't do anymore. So I was there for many years. I was known as kind of like the golden boy there. So I would literally, when I was a new accounts person,
the nicknames we give ourselves are the best ones.
They are. And my team was blown away because I had an uncanny knack for knowing every single person that walked into the bank, like maybe 90% of my customers. I knew them, I knew what they drove, and I knew how to quickly bring up their account. So by the time they walked in, we were ready to do some business. So that was kind of what I was known for. But fast forward, and the bank kind of started to change some hands, and it was just changing, and I didn't want to work for a really big bank. And so I thought, oh, what should I do? And at the time I had met our founders, Jim and Robin. They were clients of the bank, and I didn't really have any idea what corporate housing was. Golden boy. But I was like, I gotta find out what they do, because it seems like a super interesting thing. So I emailed and said, I don't know if you guys have an opening, but I'm thinking of a switch. And within 30 minutes, they emailed back. I had an interview, which turned into another interview. And next thing I knew, I was in corporate housing. So I
What
joined.
attracted you? What attracted you to corporate housing as an industry? I mean, coming out of banking, I mean, why do they rob banks? That's where the money is. So you're coming
Right?
out of banking and you're going into
I know,
corporate housing.
seriously. I know, what the hell, man?
What were you thinking?
Well, I knew where I live, which is kind of the foothills outside of Sacramento. There's not a ton of huge companies out here. So here I am, like in my early 20s, trying to figure out where I'm going to go next. And I just knew they had a corporate office presence. I knew they had been in business many years. Both very friendly, very nice people. And I would talk to them every time they came in. And I always wondered, like, so what is this? So and I kind of liken it to, I've really figured out over the course of my career is that like hospitality and like service is like what my passion is. And that's why I think it like carried over from there. Like I was known for giving great service there, and I loved it. I thrived on it. And then to come, over to corporate housing, and I started helping some of our bigger clients and work directly with their transferees. And fast forward, and I've held a lot of different positions. I know a lot about it, and I don't see myself shying away from it. So I love it.
I love the story, and we got some great people checking in here. Hit that like button right now. Show some love out there to MJ, aka Mickey Sachs,
Mickey Sachs, just anything,
aka
really.
Sweet
Hey, dude.
Cakes, or I don't know. Yeah, aka one half of the team known as Sweet Cakes.
Right.
But let me ask you. So tell me a little bit about how your career kind of progressed through that. Like, because I see where you're at now, and you're just one of the most kind of influential business development, corporate housing people, in the States, definitely on the West Coast, but how did you get there? Did you start, like, did you just walk in the door, just, breaking necks and cashing checks, or did you like start off just cleaning toilets,
sure,
and moving couches around? Like, what was that career arc like?
Yeah, it was interesting. I, like I said, I started kind of working and actually booking reservations, working on our inside sales team, working with a number of different clients. And then over time, I, let them know I was interested in growing. And fairly quickly, one of our primary accounts up in the Pacific Northwest, the person that used to manage it for us was eyeing at retirement. And they, historically, our company always had salespeople and account management teams in their respected actual cities. So we had people in the Bay Area, we had people in Southern California, we had people in New Jersey and Washington, D.C. and stuff like that. And so I was like this first test case of, let's see what Michael can do. Like, let's give him Oregon. Let's have him start there. And so I slowly started with some account management, and they let me go in and do some sales and see what I could do there. And it kind of grew from there. And then we had somebody leave Seattle, so I kind of took over the whole Pacific Northwest. And then more recently, kind of helping more in California, both Northern and Southern. And some of the best advice I was given was by our president, Robin, because it can be nerve-wracking coming into a new industry. And I was like, I don't know how to get connected. I don't know what to do. She was like, board involvement. She hands down. And I was a little nervous about it. And she's like, get involved with the PRC. And so that was one of the first things I did. And
which is a great shout out to PRC. I mean, that's a great regional.
Great regional. It was the first one I started to go to, and got on the board, and have held several positions over the years. And then from there, I joined the Seattle board, and also another amazing regional. And we have both of those regions are ran by two amazing women. So it's been fun to see what they're doing right now, and I'm proud to be a part of both of them. So
yeah, I agree. I think that's a great piece of advice. We got people checking in here. Get in the comments. Want to know your thoughts on regionals, regional involvement. Is that an important part of your career? Get in the comments. I want to know your thoughts on that. Mary Corrales is saying hashtag West Coast Mafia.
There she is. That's
shout
us.
out.
Shout out.
What is the West Coast Mafia?
Well, the West Coast Mafia was something that it got nicknamed, oddly enough, earlier this year during the Mickey Sachs event. But I hadn't spent much time on the East Coast, and then here we are. And there were certain folks. There was Katie with PNC Bank, Scott with Sudif. We had our good pal Vinny there. We had Blythe there. Like, there was just so many good people that were technically more West Coast. That's where we all kind of live, and time zone and everything. We were like thick as thieves over there, and they were like, who is this group that is the life of the party, living it up? And we were meeting new friends and bringing in some new East Coast friends and stuff. But that's how we got coined West Coast Mafia. So come back here, and Mary's a wonderful friend of mine. And so we have been able to do networking groups with us and some other partners. And yeah, West Coast Mafia was born. And so we run thick, man, thick as thieves. That's us.
Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Does the
Go ahead.
West Coast have more love for the East Coast when they come out, or does the East Coast have more love for the West Coast when they come out?
That's a great question, man. I would initially say I feel like the West Coast, because we've had great speakers come to our regionals and stuff from the East Coast. I feel like we're very welcoming and very excited to have them. I have not done a ton the other way, but I wasn't asked, and I was asked recently by Tila. Can't say no to her. Tila and Katie to come out for coming to Raleigh for the Relopalooza thing, and I've never been to that regional at all. And yep, Relopalooza 23. And so I'll let you know. We'll have to have another show, and I'll let you know how I was received out there.
Let
I'm
me
excited.
know. I'm strongly considering coming to Relopalooza.
Dude, you got it.
Tila and Mark Bacocci are twisting my
Mark.
arm here. I
Yep.
really want to go. It's kind of June. The kids are out of school. You know, I got some things going on, but I'm really tempted.
You should,
I'm
man.
really tempted.
From what I can see, it's going to be an awesome event. I'm excited, and you know, it's tied to music. You can't go wrong there.
Yeah, it looks like a really good one here. And then we've got look at this. Laura's checking in here. Hit that like button right now. If you got questions, if you've got questions about corporate housing, if you've got questions about regionals, if you've got questions about bands, you know, I mean, whatever. I mean, nicknames, you know, put it in there. Want to know what your look at the Tila like, do it.
Come on, Ben.
That's how I picture Tila talking. Do it, Ben. I don't know why I feel like that, but that's how I feel. It's valid. My emotions are valid. Tanya's saying the West Coast is the best coast.
I mean,
it has a ring to it, I guess.
It absolutely does. But
as long as you don't say the East Coast is the least coast, I mean, we got no beef out here.
Yeah.
Cool. Britt Bemis, hi from Seattle.
Hi,
MJ is the best.
Oh, she's also the best. We've got some good people in corporate housing and hospitality. That's for sure. Great people.
Look at this, Tila G. Brian Rivers says Michael was instrumental in helping me get involved with regional boards on the West Coast. Wow, that's a lot of. I have to almost re-say that. There's so much on the West Coast.
West Coast, dude. Brian's
thankful for you, my friend.
He's a good buddy of mine, and what's great is, you know, where we live, it's kind of smaller, and we don't really have a ton of folks from the industry, but Brian's one of them. We sometimes fly together, and yeah, it's just good to have some good people out there. Him and I are kicking around trying to do some more just little networking stuff. We've got some other industry friends that live in the greater Sac area, so that's a plug. If anybody's in the area, reach out to Brian and I, and we'll get something on the books.
You guys are both in that Sac Town area, Northern California. Scott O'Neill saying Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs.
Is that that movie that came out with the old guys?
Sort of, but Scott and his hilarious boss Gavin and I were up in Seattle, and you know, we formed a biker gang on Lime scooters, which I have plenty of experience riding Lime scooters. The best part was when you're brand new to Lime, they have a governor on the speed, so they could only go half speed until they could prove themselves. I was doing circles.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they're it's great fun. So now that's what we do when we go to big cities. We gotta ride the hogs.
The Wild Hogs. This is great. This is great. John Chesnowski's checking in from Brazil here. This is fantastic. Yes, get those questions coming. Yes, look at this. Keep off the scooters. Deb says keep off the scooters.
Oh, she was a bit nervous when we were doing that, but it was great. It was. They have headlights. We're fine. It was good.
Look at it. Look at the HR folks just trying to just keep some semblance, some semblance of decorum here, but it can't be done. It can't be done. Tanya's saying, come out, see me on a Thursday. Pub trivia is on.
You got it, girl.
Let's
I will
go.
Be there.
Yeah, okay. So we got a fun fact about Michael James coming. Keep these fun facts coming in. If you want to share any fun facts, I promise we'll get to some Relo stuff. We'll talk corporate housing. We'll talk stuff, whatever. Get in the comments though. Let us know a fun fact about Michael James here. Let's keep it PG-13. Fun fact, David Toledo says Michael James once ate 42 hot wings and a pretzel in a single night.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Is that true?
I mean, I guess I'd be down to try it. I either was hammered if I did that, but that does not ring a bell. But you know, David, I'm going to be popping in on his show tomorrow, so I'll think of something clever to throw in the comments for him too.
Nice, my back here. Deb saying, preach it. Or Tila, that's great. All right, so you're telling me kind of about your meteoric ascent at SuiteAmerica, to the top of the corporate housing game out there on the West Coast. And I love the advice you give about joining the regionals.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you, you have this great affinity for our business, and obviously this really a lot of fans out there of you as a person, and I can tell how much you care about others. Let me ask you though, what is some of the craziest things you've seen happen in temporary housing? I want to go to some stories here. This might be a good little segue from you eating 42 wings and a pretzel. So let's not make it just about you, but what are some of the things you've seen in your illustrious career in corporate housing? Tell us some crazy stories, because I feel like corporate housing, like movers, we get to go and see how people live.
Yeah.
But they live with y'all. So tell me some of the crazy stories you've seen from corporate housing.
Oh, we've had some doozies, man. Well, one of the top ones that come to mind is one of my favorites. We had one of our inspectors was inspecting an apartment in one of the cities that we operate in, and the property was composed of 2 towers, and she was up in the unit of whichever floor we were on, probably 15 or 20 or something like that. And she was making sure everything's good, and she looked out the window and she noticed that there was identical tower across the way, and there was this little white fluffy dog, and the white fluffy dog was left on the balcony, and it was walking outside of the rails, and it was walking along the edge, and it was a fairly windy day, and so panic set in a bit.
Hold on. So it's a tower, and
it's
outside. What floor are we talking about? Like floor
it was
2, or are we talking about
no,
floor 22?
I'm like 15 or 20, like up
What?
there, like she was up high. And she could see it, and she was freaking out. And so she quickly stopped what she was doing. I know, dude. So she ran down, and she started to run across the walkway thing between it. And at that time, a gust of wind actually knocked the dog off the patio. And our team member caught the dog.
Shut up!
I swear to God,
Michael
dude,
James.
She caught the dog, and the craziest thing is when she caught the dog, the tiny dog.
How many stories we talking about?
At least 15, dude. I mean, I don't know the exact floor number, but I remember when she explained it, when she got down there and it left. I mean, she was. But the craziest thing, the owner, when she found the owner, was just like not even that appreciative.
Nonchalant?
Just kind of nonchalant. Oh gosh, thanks so much. And it's like, dude, you don't leave a dog on an apartment balcony. Come on, people. Think so.
She should get the key to the city. That could have taken somebody out.
I know, dude. I know. So that was one that's always been like near and dear. Because I'm a dog lover, so I'm like, oh,
that should be front page news, Sac Gazette, right there. I mean, dude. what town was this in?
That was in Portland.
Portland.
Yep.
The people of Portland. Oh, right. Your team. A debt of gratitude that cannot be repaid.
We will make sure your animals are safe. That's
think of the mess, just the mess, just best case scenario. The mess.
I know, man. I know. So that one was pretty crazy. We had one when another person was going to check an apartment and was going in and noticing there was a couple things off about an apartment. She was looking and she's like, well, that's weird. We leave these little oatmeal packs or certain little things in there, and it looked like it had been opened, and she thought that's odd. And she called our regional manager at the time and was like, hey, there's something kind of odd here. And she's like, well, walk around and take some pictures. She opens the bedroom door and she takes a picture of the bed because it looks a little disheveled. And a man sat up in the bed, and she screamed and ran out of the apartment and ran to the leasing office, who was phenomenal. And the gentleman there came and checked. Well, come to find out, this was one of the properties that, believe it or not, in the suburbs. So we're talking far away from any urban area. And somebody had cut the back of the lockbox and had taken the key and had found their way into the apartment. Now, I'm happy to share that's the one and only time I've ever heard of it happening, but it was a shock for our team member who literally
person basically broke into the apartment and was like squatting kind of there.
And the former guest had moved out like 2 days prior. So it was literally, we had another guest coming in. So luckily it wasn't like they weren't in there a long time, but it was just crazy that somebody figured out how to cut the back of a lockbox open. So
that's wild. Yeah. Somebody really needed a place to stay.
Sure did, man.
I think you should put that on your philanthropy list.
Right.
Like just putting roofs over people's heads, randos heads out here.
Heads and beds, man. That's what we're doing.
Heads and beds. And catching dags. You like dags?
With the
catching dags. Was the dog's name Baxter?
Baxter. Yes, it was. And he was punted off the balcony, Brian.
I'm sorry. I don't recall. I don't know the reference here.
Ron Burgundy, Anchorman. Yes, his beloved dog Baxter, because he threw the burrito at the motorcycle rider, dude, the hog rider. So, oh, great movie. Good plug, Brian. Good plug.
Brian's great with that. Mike Falia, speaking of hog riders here, look at this.
Dude.
Checking in a little late for SoCal.
Mr. Falia, he is a awesome dude. And if you have not had the
great
opportunity,
person.
you need to go to a diners, drive-ins, and dives with this guy. I've had some of my best meals in this industry by going to some of sometimes questionable looking, but always the best food that I've had.
People have said that about Mike Falia before.
Oh.
Questionable looking. That's the first adjective that comes out of people's mouths, usually typically about Mike Falia. Questionable looking. No, I'm just kidding. We love,
for sure.
Yeah. No, we love
Don't
Mike.
trust that guy.
Mike's one of the all-around upstanding great people in our industry too. And what Mike's done from a awareness standpoint about giving blood and giving antibodies and things like that. I just applaud him. I would be honored to do a blood drive or something with Mike.
I agree. I'm actually donating blood next month, and it's because of him, and it's because it's been top of mind. Like I need to go and do it. So thank you, Mike, for continuing to do that. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we love you, Mike. Tila says you should write a coffee table book.
There you go. Oh,
you need photos. I need to see this building.
We should have some
diagram. I need like at least a diagram. Like dog was here.
Yeah.
Dog fell to here. This was this far. Terminal velocity is X. Amazon Web Services say it was traveling at 25 miles per hour when it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I need that. The diners, drive-ins, and dives in Vegas was definitely questionable.
That's where my mind went. Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. It was in this strange.
Where'd you guys go?
Casino. What was it? It was off the. He'll remind me of the name, but it was this good place inside this really smoky, tiny casino off the strip, and we were like, "What the?" Yeah, even Mary. Yeah, Mary was there. There was a good group of us.
Was it called the Dispensary?
That does not ring a bell, but I will let Mary or Mike
fill
in the blank on that one.
Posting about that, and they thought it was a pot thing, but it wasn't. It was a hamburger thing, but it was smoky. Mary, Mike, put it in there. I want to know. Yeah, she's saying that Vegas joint was sketch.
A little bit. You know.
I mean, if it's sketch too in Vegas, like Vegas is supposed to be a little sketch. I feel like if it's sketch in Vegas,
it can be.
Talk to me.
Yeah, right.
Squirrels are running. Let's go. That's awesome. These are great stories, and I'm loving this. Is like so much better than work stuff. But
agreed.
But I do have a work stuff question. I do, right? Because this is love and real. It's not just love. We gotta
touch on relo, and then we can go back to love. Yeah.
People need their CRP credits. Okay, here we go. Right. It's like we don't do that. Tanya's saying, you know what? Leave it to Tanya because Tanya always keeps me honest here.
I know.
Tanya, keep me honest. Maritini says, question. Would like to hear Michael's outlook on the corporate housing industry, how it's evolved, challenges. Let's break that down. So, let's go chronological, evolved, challenges, and then outlooks. So let's talk about how it's evolved over, say, since you've got in the business.
Well, I mean, I've been doing it now. It'll be 8 years in June. And I've seen it change. But even one step further back, I mean, when our founders started the company, they've, shared with me before that they started the company in 1990. Kind of a plug. That's when I was born too. So my president likes to always remind me that the company is the same age as me. But
born in 90?
I am, dude. I am
a 9 handle on you.
That's why I have this, so people don't realize it. But yeah, so when we started the company, you could go in pretty much anywhere, and you could get a 30-day lease, and you'd set up furniture, you'd set up utilities. Somebody would move in, you'd turn around, you'd give notice, you'd give the apartment back. Vacancy, exposure, all that stuff was not part of the game back then. And then fast forward, I've seen it that we operated in certain markets when I joined in 2014, and we've shifted and opened other markets, and maybe we've changed our mind in other markets and not kept inventory. So it's pretty evolving. The likelihood of finding, especially West Coast is a very challenging market up and down when it comes to finding any type of short-term leases, from intern groups in the summer to, just in general, a family need in a suburb where you might not have anybody to backfill the unit. Those were more available in 2014, 2015, 16. I remember when I was helping employees of some of our clients, and we would get a 60-day lease, set it up, and it was easy. And those are just getting more and more scarce, unfortunately, or scarce, very hard to come by. So most corporate housing providers like us that don't own, we don't own any of our buildings. That's not been part of our model. We want the flexibility of scaling up and scaling down when we need to.
Yeah, I mean, owning buildings is a major undertaking.
It
just
is.
be able to rent an apartment.
Oh,
But,
for sure.
I want to ask you though, real quick, what cities are you in?
Well, primarily where we carry most core inventory is pretty much up and down the West Coast. So we're in Seattle and Portland, and San Francisco Bay Area has been a huge market for us since we started the company. So that's probably our heaviest presence there. We're in LA, San Diego. We're in DC and Virginia area. And then there are some markets that we have popped up in over the years that if we had a need, we could probably set up a lease. We've done, we have capabilities in Charlotte. We have capabilities in Austin, Texas. We have capabilities in New York and Boston. So we have those opportunities there. But I would say we kind of, as far from a core perspective, it's those cities I just mentioned.
But if you need somebody, like if somebody needed you to go in there and stand something up and had kind of consistent volume, critical mass, you could do that. Okay.
Yep. And that's how we've grown the company that way. That's how we've gone into these markets, as we've grown with clients. And then when it makes sense, we pull the trigger and we hire people and we, make the investment and get the warehouse and get the office space, and we're running and rolling. So,
all right. So we're going to move on to challenges, but before we do, we're going to call out the fact that one of the challenges you faced was actually walking back from the restaurant that night with Mike and Katie and Mary.
Yeah.
West Coast Mafia. I mean, even
West
for the
Coast
Mafia,
it was hard. Mike, luckily we went in the day, and even during the day for lunch, we were warned, don't walk back to the hotel. So it was that kind of area
in the daytime.
But it was great though. I mean, the food was awesome. And the other tip, if you go to a diner, drive-ins and dive, Mike turned me on to that, but you gotta order kind of what Guy orders. That's what he does. And so I've started to okay, I'll do the same thing. Let's see what he's all about. So it's good.
I love it. I actually, when I was in Vegas with my dad for his 60th, I guess it was. I think it was his 60th, my 30th, so it was like 10 years ago. Guy Fieri was in town actually doing an event. Yeah, so I actually saw him there. So, oh man, we got some good questions coming in here.
Oh, good.
Oh, we got some really good questions. All right, we're gonna pivot. We're gonna take these questions here, and then if we have time, we'll go back to. I think I overuse that word a little bit. I'm big in the low post. Like I'm big with the pivot. Like shout out to Sacramento Kings as well.
Right.
Light the beam.
Light the beam. There you go.
Light the beam. Let's see here. Let's see, Brian Rivers. We'll take these in order, and then we got Deb Convery as well. Brian says, Michael, speaking generally, what are some differences between different corporate housing providers, differentiators, or do they all offer mainly the same services? Yeah. What's the difference between corporate housing providers? There's a lot of players in the space, but I hear there's different models. Like what's the difference?
Yeah. It differs. We've got corporate housing companies that are truly only the aggregator side of things. They don't hold inventory. They don't have necessarily the risk that we do, but they utilize us as part of their supply chain. So we work in some of those models. Then obviously there's corporate housing providers that own buildings. Some either just focus on their own buildings. Some also will take out leases elsewhere. And some do what we've done and always done. And it's usually, go out and take blocks of units. Some differentiators is, and I've seen it change, kind of back to Tanya's question about what's evolved. And I would say that, in certain markets in 2014 and 15, when you would go and look into our availability to book somebody, we might be in one city, we might be in, 15 or 16 different buildings within a 10-mile radius, which from a selection perspective is great, but from a staffing perspective and a ESG perspective, and just as the years have gone on, what's made more sense to us and what we've been moving towards is more of a bulk mentality, kind of a density type of thing. So for example, we work with certain property management companies and developers. And so we try to go in, and sometimes we'll either take a building within a brand new complex, or like recently in Mountain View, we took on a whole brand new property of 77 units. And so we are all SuiteAmerica at that property, which works great for a lot of different.
You guys have the whole place rented
out? The whole
out?
property. Yeah, the whole property is us. So we have somebody that lives on site. It's got a pool and gym. It's a beautiful property that was built and completed. I think we took the property in 2021, I think is when we started to go in there. So yeah, it just kind of varies. I mean, but maybe if we don't need that much density, maybe we're looking at having 15 or 20 units in a building and various floors and various sizes and 1 and 2 bedrooms and stuff like that. And then of course you've got furniture, and The model can change. Some providers still own and take care of their own furniture, which is a feat in itself. We used to previously have that as part of our mix, but to be honest, we have very trusted furniture providers that we work with for years. We've developed certain packages about what SuiteAmerica expects and the color scheme and the style of furniture. And so we expect that from our furniture providers, and that's their bread and butter. They're making sure that everything's fixed and scratches are taken care of and things are cleaned. And so we focus on the corporate housing aspect, and they help support us that way. So
it's so interesting you bring that up, because I've stayed in a fair amount of corporate housing as I travel through, and I do maintain that corporate housing is the best way to travel. I've stayed in a lot of hotels. I'm a Marriott. I've been a Marriott and a Hilton, honors person. And the value that you get from a corporate apartment, furnished apartment, especially if you're like looking at a 2-bedroom, like say you're traveling with your kids, right? Like you want to get a 2-bedroom or a suite, with a separate bedroom for your kids. I mean, you're talking about 500 and up,
totally.
a lot of these places, right? Whereas you can go get that for, not throw price there. I don't know, $200-300, a night, and stuff. You can get a short-term, corporate housing, situation. Like,
got a
I just think
full
it's
kitchen and
full kitchen.
plenty of square footage.
You put their Go-Gurts in the fridge, you don't got to worry about it, and then your wife's not hitting up room service 3 meals a day. It's like, it works. It just works.
It does.
So I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's just the most underrated travel tip, if you will, is to tap into the corporate housing industry. And I totally agree with what you're saying about the furniture standpoint. Like, I've heard a lot of operators say, we own our own furniture, we manage our own furniture. And coming from a household goods background, I know what it's like to have to move that stuff and store that stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I do notice, in my opinion, some people might hate me for this, in my opinion, the furniture is a little bit more fresh in the units that rent the furniture versus the units that own the furniture.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. And granted, other operators probably, do it quite well, and that's awesome. But just for us and what we saw, I mean, the companies that we've partnered with, they have it down to an art form. It's impressive how many units they can set up and tear down and turn in a day, with the support of us and our inspecting team and everything. I mean, it just really, it's a well-oiled machine, and it takes teamwork and partnership, and yeah, it's amazing what furniture rental companies can do.
And I'm going to get to Deb's question here. I'll get to it here. Deb, I got you. Hey, Michael, before we get to Deb's question,
it's just the best.
Though, do you think maybe you give me some advice?
For sure. Let me guess. How are we getting Deb on the show?
Yeah. How do you think I could do that?
Hey, Deb, you need to come on with me. I'll come back on. Let's have a good time. Let's get on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, I know how busy she gets, but I'm sure she would be phenomenal on the show. And that would be a really, really fun one to watch.
She keeps dangling the carrot. She's like, one of these days.
I'm going
to die, and on my tombstone is going to be, one of these days, Deb Convery will be
right.
And then you'll be sorry. Just kidding, Deb. I love you so much. Shout out to Paul too. I love Paul's posts on LinkedIn.
As do I.
Yeah, good stuff. Deb says, question, would like to hear Michael's advice to corporate mobility managers on the best thing we can do to show up and be a strong partner? How can they be a good partner? I love the fact that a client is asking how they can be a good partner, right? Because so often we have clients on and suppliers like, how can we be a good partner? Which is kind of a sales question. But to have a corporate person like Deb, especially a person that's like of her, level, in stature in our industry, asking how they can be a good partner. I mean, that's leadership. So what do you think, Michael?
For sure. Well, I mean, we all ask probably the same question year after year, and it's so hard for most companies. There's really, forecasting is often not available. And what we're seeing is a lot of decisions are being made higher than our mobility clients. And I mean, it's coming down, and they're learning things, and then they're coming to us and saying, this is what we've, found out. So, I mean, transparent communication is always helpful. Even, we rarely can get numbers and information from the people that we work with, and we get that, and we know it's a big ask. But if you're hearing things, if you can help plug in, one of the biggest things that's been helpful to us is that if we can help offset with some of your business travel needs or intern, or we do some group work for several clients for people that come in all different times of the year, like things like that not only help us be able to strategize how we're going to have an inventory plan to support you all year long, but pricing is going to be much better. Vacancy is one of the biggest killers in our industry, and it's what really can fluctuate the price, and it can go up, but it can go really, really low when we're all sitting on, vacancy at challenging times. So if that's what my main takeaway would be, is that even if it's not numbers and specific data, what's your gut feeling telling you? What do you think leadership is saying? Do you think it's going to be flat? Do you have a year that you can just say, hey, it's not going to be like last year, but maybe you can, look back 5 years and we might trend towards that volume again? That's helpful to us to at least know, okay, they might need X amount of units each month, and we can go from there.
Yeah. So really what I'm hearing is kind of year-round volume really helps, and looking at other kind of business needs that you can service. I think the long-term business travel need is a really interesting one. I heard you ask for interns, which I thought was an interesting take, because aren't interns like kind of the bane of corporate housing's existence? I mean,
they
we love them and we hate them. Like,
they're a necessary part of a program, and I think it's an important way to also strengthen and help show your partnership and your willingness to support, and show the creative ways that you can do it. And it is hard, especially from a lease term perspective, but we can get creative, and maybe the wish list is we want this, this, and this, and maybe we can hit 2 of the 3 wish lists for the client. But at the end of the day, if we can get them into safe, clean apartments that's easily accessible to get to the office of wherever they're going, that's obviously what our goal is. And to minimize the vacancy and the price for our clients, that's our goal. That's what we're always trying to do. But
true, false. Interns be crazy.
Interns can be crazy. I mean, I have plenty of intern stories. I would say as a whole, I think interns can get a bad rap, just like I, honestly, up until like a year or two ago, kind of hid my age, because I think I'm technically a millennial, and millennials for a long time got a bad rap. And so I kind of went under the radar. So I wouldn't say all interns are, but we've had plenty of issues.
This isn't like a kids these days. And well, maybe it is, but it's like, I heard, like, we had like Glenna Swan on from Microsoft recently. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, these people, they want hardwood floors. They want to bring their iguana. They want, to have their own unit or their own room. But then we have like this, this cap of X dollars per, it just seems like the requirements or the requests, maybe we'll say, are not in line with, frankly, their level.
I would probably tend to, agree there. And what's crazy to see for me is that, depending on what client, it is amazing to see. Sometimes we get these, we pride ourselves and we can support a multitude of populations for companies, but we also do a very good job and are kind of a primary supplier to several companies and their EVIP population. So we really pull out all the stops and do as many bells and whistles to wow them. But sometimes it's amazing what the interns expect and what their feedback is on the options and stuff like that. But then you have a super high level guest that's like, oh my gosh, this is a huge confidential move, easy as can be. Cool as a cucumber, doesn't need much, maybe an espresso coffee maker and stuff like that. And it's just crazy to see that. Like, I mean, and if I was an intern, I never did an internship, but I would be like, wow, this is amazing. Thanks for covering my housing costs. Like, this is great. This will be a fun 3 months.
Right. Exactly. Right. They're like a couple years out of a dormitory, and now they can't room with somebody. Yeah, really, really interesting. We got other questions coming in here. Mary Corrales says, what are the cost benefits of coming to one corporate housing directly for a need versus sending out bids to multiple corporate housing companies? This is a great question.
It's a great question, Mary.
And done. Really great.
There could be, definitely benefits all around. I mean, the nice thing that we've been able to do, and I know Mary and her company also they've been doing this a long time as well, just like us. So, we can help strategize, and we can help, again, whether it's interns or mobility, relo, whatever the need is. But if you're partnering with somebody, and we know that as a company, we have the opportunity to take on X number of long-term leases, because we know that you're going to give us the chance to, fill all these apartments. Maybe you get a first right of refusal situation. If we can't facilitate through us or our partner network, we understand that maybe you have to go out to multiple suppliers. I think the challenge also comes from, we're hearing more companies want consistency. And I think that's where the consistency falls. As the supply chains get bigger and bigger, we hear it all the time that, oh, well, I stayed at SuiteAmerica and I got XYZ, but I stayed with this company out in Idaho, and they didn't include housekeeping, and they didn't. I didn't get trash service, and it could be a myriad of things, but it's things like that are making their way to companies that, it's when you direct to one company that's been doing it as long as like a company like we have, we know what you expect. We figured it out. We know what we need to put in the apartment specifically from a client perspective, whether it's a certain type of technology or a certain type of color scheme because of the corporate colors. Like these are things that we do. And it's to consistently provide the best experience so that if they all talk, they can be like, oh, that's what I got too. That's what I got too.
Which is important from a benefit standpoint.
It is. Yeah, it is. So I would say consistency. And I think it can help with, it can help with overall price, I think, and planning.
Well, that's where I was going to go with price too. I mean, I guess maybe what's the assumption kind of baked into her question is it less expensive to go directly to the provider who holds core inventory versus going through a intermediary or aggregator?
I mean, yeah, more often than not, but we understand that there are companies that kind of really want and need that one-stop shop, and depending on where their, locations are, sometimes maybe us or another company, maybe we're not the perfect fit, and we understand that we can't be everything to everybody, but we know what we're good at, and we know where we can deliver a good experience. So, and quite honestly, I mean, we still partner a lot of our directed clients that we've had for many years. We partner with the relocation management companies, and we still, there's revenue sharing, there's referrals, like things that have to happen because that's how this is how mobility kind of evolved to what it is today. And it's part of how they do business, and we understand. And so we all play nicely, and we can partner together to support the client. We're not trying to go behind anybody's back. We're not trying to, do anything shisty and trying to make anybody look bad. That's not our case. We just want to get a shot to show you what we can do. We can provide some really great experience if we can work directly with you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting question. I can kind of see both sides of it too.
Yeah.
We got a couple of hard questions actually coming up here.
Okay.
Ducks or beavers?
Ducks, 100%.
Okay. And
I'm sorry, Scott. I mean, I'll go to a Beaver game for Scott O'Neill. He's one of my best friends in the industry, but Scott's great because Scott is also he can be a Duck fan. Obviously, he's a Beaver through and through, but he'll go to a Duck game.
Scott as a closet Duck fan?
Well, it's not really an out. I mean, I've got
family
the proof
could be
on
watching.
Facebook. Oh, you got
the
his lady is a Duck fan through and through. So no, we have a good time. We've gone to some Duck games together, and he'll wear a Duck shirt even. I mean, he's a good. He'll do it, man.
Maybe on the East Coast, he'll get a Ducks tat on the East Coast, maybe.
Oh, for sure. Well, enough beers involved. Maybe we can. Yeah, oh, Deb, go Beavs. There. Okay, well, teach their own. Teach their own.
It's very interesting here. Katie says, "Will our Oregon Ducks make the playoffs this year in football?" I presume.
I mean, yeah. I mean, come on now. The Ducks.
There's only 4. But wait, is this the year there's still only 4 teams that can make it, or is this an 8-team year now? Because I think they expanded it. But I think it may not take. Can somebody look that up? Are we going into the college football playoffs expand going into 2024? I guess it would be technically. Yeah. When does that take effect? Is it this year or next year? Because I think that would have a dramatic impact on the Ducks' ability to make the playoffs. I mean, if they double the field, right? I mean, they might have a chance.
I love the little emojis, Katie. Good job.
Yeah.
We love Scott even with the shortcomings. Yeah, we do.
I love how polite the hate is in Oregon. It's so nice, so genteel. It's so like,
West Coast, we're very polite,
very nice people out there on the West Coast. Except if you wear a suit to a BAM meeting. I got a hard time. I got a hard time from current president Josh Hyatt, who will be on the show tomorrow, and I will ask him about that.
I'm excited.
Yes. I wore a suit. I think might have been a 3-piece suit. I wore a 3-piece suit to a BAM meeting. And he came down in flip-flops and some torn jeans at a bar, right? And like we were in different planets. And he's like, "Really, dude? Really?" And I'm like, "Hey, I don't know. First time, dude."
Well, I will say, of the West Coast, I would say BAM historically, normally at a minimum business casual. I still see the suits there, but some of the other regionals like, Portland or Seattle, like, I mean, we're usually pretty low key, especially Portland. They love a really good theme up there. So we just did
they love a
derby theme. I mean,
that was beautiful.
It was great. It was a good time.
I love the hats on the derby. Falia, look at Mike Falia, always on time. Says 2024, which I guess is this year because they play it in the winter. And he says expansion is to 12 teams.
There we go. Okay.
How does that work? You get a first round bye? 14. It's kind of 12 teams.
Yeah.
There's an elite 8, but there's not like I'm trying bracketology with my. Sorry, I don't know if that was inappropriate or not, but Mike Falia, explain. Can you put a link in there for the people that are, for the people that are challenged, like myself? I'm over here literally scratching my head right now. This is great. Possible expansion 20 to 12, but not committed until 26.
There you go.
Katie, why don't you and Mike fight this out in the parking lot and get back to me, okay? Let me know what it's going to be.
Yeah, there we go.
And what's happening with interest rates, by the way. This is a lot of fun. Mike, we could kind of cut up here for a minute. You know what? All right, I got one more serious question. Then I want to get into having some more fun here. I'm going to go back to Tanya's question because she asked about the evolution. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about the challenges, but I want to know the outlook. We're looking at how we're halfway through 23. How's this year looking from like just a demand standpoint and like what's going on? Give us like a kind of an overview of what's happening right now in outlook.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with what's going on in the economy, it's challenging. It eerily echoes a bit of what we experienced during the first year of the pandemic. I think that we're all a little more prepared, I would say, than what we were then. I mean, that was a shock to the system.
When you say prepared, why? I know in 2020 people got stuck with a lot of leases, people had to give things back. It created a lot of rift between the property owners and management companies and corporate housing companies. How is the industry more prepared now than they were then?
I think because we're all being, quite honestly, as much as we want to help everybody, we all have to be careful. So a lot of us had to kind of roar back last year to support, but we already saw earlier this year and it already had to start planning to reduce our leases, and we continue to do it. And I think that's what we're going to see through the remainder of the year is at least very strong on the West Coast. Obviously it's a very tech-based coast. A lot of companies there which are slower and layoffs are still occurring and stuff. So other segments of the industry are still moving. They're still doing, we're doing some stuff in the medical field. And I mean, things are still happening, but I think that most of us are going to continue to probably downsize our inventory, be a little careful this summer, knowing that Q3 and Q4 are probably going to be slower. And we're just going to, hope that 2024 is a better year. I'm hearing mixed signals. I'd love to hear your side, Ben, and what you're thinking next year could look like. But I think, careful is what we're all trying to be right now, and hoping that things will roar back, but it could take a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing that like peak season, which we kind of we kind of think about the summertime as peak season, right? Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of showed up later than it has in the past, right? Like, because we get initiations and then we get people moving, right? And then we get the billing and the problems. That's kind of the cycle of and like each season, like spring is when the orders come, summer's when the people come, fall's when the problems come, and we have to apologize and pretend we're gonna do better, and then do better, and then winter's when the planning comes, right? And so I mean that's kind of been the cycle of our business. And in spring the orders didn't come. They were just kind of quiet, in much the same way that 2022 peak season never ended, or is it 21? Well, whatever. Anyway, it just felt like there was like a 12 months where it was just busy the whole time.
Yeah. And we were just talking as a team as well. And it's like, you can't even go back and look at what, 2018 and 2019 were phenomenal years for many companies, us included. I mean, things were booming, things were going well, but I also think what we're seeing is the companies that were booming at that time now they're doing some restructuring, they're doing things differently. Cost, watching costs is a huge thing we're hearing across the board, and that's something that we play a part in and have to do everything we can to keep costs low. But I don't even know if we can compare it to that. I think those were kind of some anomaly years too, where some of these companies were just booming, and then the pandemic slowed us, and then last year we boomed again, but it was because of such a backfill of all of these needs coming through, and now we're just like, okay, let's let's pause, let's breathe, and let's just be careful. Careful is my word.
Yeah, kind of cautiously optimistic, right? I mean, I think, yeah, and I think it really also depends. You kind of touched on this. I think it really depends on the sector and kind of what your business mix is by sector, right? And you kind of said it right on. As a West Coast heavy kind of company, your sector is very tech heavy, you know.
Right.
And so there's geography, and then there's industry sector. And so I think the way that people are, exposed, like, so I talked to some RMCs, and they're just taking the shorts right now, you know, but their big accounts are tech companies, or or tech companies, right? And then of course some banking companies have also, some banking has also been impacted by their exposure to the tech business. But then I talked to some RMCs who have a heavy mix of, say, like manufacturing, which is now starting to take a little bit of it, but also like food, or some of the other ones that are that have not been as impacted, right? And so I think it really depends kind of on how your business mix is. I think that what I suspect. I mean, I'm not an economist, but it doesn't stop me from making ill-advised predictions.
We're gonna hold you to whatever you say right now. So go, Ben.
Listen, reckless speculation is the name of the game. Nobody's watching this. So I think the Q2, Q3 are going to be really kind of down. I think as the Fed's policies are taking effect, right? Because they're trying to slow the economy down actively by raising interest rates, right? They're trying to slow the economy down. They're trying to slow inflation down. They're trying to land the plane, and I think they're doing that. And just when you land the plane, it's kind of bumpy, it's kind of whatever, and it feels like you're slowing down, and all that stuff happens. But the economy is still incredibly strong. I mean, you look at the jobless claims and things like that, and they were surprisingly low the last time I saw a report. So, I mean, there's still a lot of signs of a lot of strength. It's just the feeling when you're on the freeway and you're going 80 and you take your foot off the gas, and it feels like you're going a lot slower, but you're still going 65.
Yeah.
It's like we didn't, you know what I'm saying? So you're still going fast, and there's still business there, but there is a bit of a constriction. And I think when you staffed up to a certain level, and you're inventoried up to a certain level, and you kind of prepared yourself, and you're used to running. Because think about when it took off after COVID, right? We were like going from being like in a sleep to being like, oh crap, game 1 of the season started with no preseason, no practice, no mini camp. We're just running full speed, game speed, right? And that was like hard because people just weren't used to working like that much and hard,
For sure.
So that's kind of what I'm saying. So I think it's just slowing down a little bit. But I think in Q4, I think we're going to be doing all right. But again, it's going to be Q4. So I think next year will be pretty normal. I think there's going to be a little bit of pent up demand also that's growing right now, because right now interest rates are so high. The people who are even being asked to move can't move.
Yeah.
Like if somebody moved right now and they took an 8% interest rate on their house, and they're used to paying interest at 2%.
I know.
Some people have 1.75% rates right now. How are they going to move out of that? Right. I mean, the payments are going to double. So there's a lot of people that just can't move right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's hard, and we're seeing definitely more people that are moving, that are going to be renting and just sitting tight waiting. I do know that Katie Rudnick has said, how does she always say it? I liked it when she spoke at one of the conferences we were at. You marry the house and you date the mortgage. So if you can afford to date the mortgage for a while because you love that house, great. But otherwise, maybe sit tight a bit, and let's hope that rates come down.
Yeah, I'm about to date a mortgage this summer, I think. But it's hard because she's expensive. You know what I mean? Like she's a Louis Vuitton kind of mortgage, and I'm
for sure.
And you know what I'm saying? I'm a coach bag kind of guy, and I don't know how long I can live like that, So we'll see. I might have to wait till 2024 when we have a college football playoff or something. Yeah. So, there's a lot to consider right now. Hey, but we got a couple minutes here. Super producer Adam, can we play a game? All right, Michael, you ready to play a game?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. We're going to play a game called, what are we going to play? Oh, yeah, this is my favorite. Overrated, underrated.
Yes. Okay.
Do you know how to play this game? There's 2 rules. Do you know how to play this game?
I think so. But,
okay. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you a topic. You tell me if it's overrated or if it's underrated.
Okay.
That's rule 1.
Okay.
You only have 2 choices.
Got it.
And the second rule is I get to tell you if you're right or wrong. Okay.
Perfect. Let's go.
So here we go. Overrated, underrated. Concert ticket fees.
Oh, those are so overrated, dude. And this year,
right.
we are. My wife and I are calling it the year of the concerts. We're trying to see as many as we can, and we're having a great time doing it. But every time you think that's not that bad of a ticket, and then by the end of the Ticketmaster transaction, you're like, what the hell just happened? Like, how did we? What's this extra $300? So completely overrated.
Yeah, that, and not only are they hitting you on the fees, they're like buying these tickets and reselling them to you.
Yep.
There's a lot of shenanigans going
There
on behind
is
the
shenanigans
scenes here.
Yes. Yep.
I call shenanigans on the whole industry.
I agree, man.
There's 8 million ticket apps. They're running ads on my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking $100 Drake tickets and charge me $500 for them.
Yeah, not cool.
Can't even go see Coldplay like a red-blooded American.
Exactly, dude. I know, man. We've concert tickets can be painfully expensive depending on who you're seeing. That's for sure right now.
You have to go pay for a credit card just to get a pre-sale invitation.
Yeah, exactly.
American Express, baby. Concert. You know what I mean?
Yep.
What's in my wallet? Bunch of fees. Anyway, sorry. All right.
No, anyway, I got it.
Next, moving on. American cheese.
Dude, I'm gonna get some hate for this, but I have to tell you that is an underrated product because
that's our show, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, come on now. I will say I am a huge. I like to cook.
It's
I
not
like
even cheese.
I know it's not cheese, but listen, you got to give me this.
I'm
not telling you to put it on a sandwich. I'm not telling you to do that. But
can we edit this? All right,
show me a better melting cheese on top of your smash burger on your blackstone griddle.
Brie.
Well, okay, brie. Yeah, but let's not be so bougie. Sometimes you just got to throw a piece of cheese on some meat, melt it, and call it a day. So you know what? It's not my first choice, but it is underrated.
How about this one? How about a Munster, a creamy Havarti, perhaps? Okay, even a Gouda might melt nice for you.
Oh, there's something about a melty.
How about
American,
a Colby Jack?
Okay.
How about a mozzarella? How about a mozzarella? Huh?
I love all cheese. Don't get me wrong, but you can't sometimes beat an American cheese.
You just like to unwrap your cheese.
Exactly. It's that plastic gross goodness. No. I'll even
Don't make me slice my own cheese.
I'll go to the deli and get the fancy white American sometimes too when I'm feeling real fancy.
Listen, why we got to bring race into it? That was uncalled for.
That is not what I meant. And cut. Okay,
I'm kidding. Obviously, I took that out of context. No, but I think American. I mean, are we talking about crap? Okay. Are you talking about like a Boar's Head American? Or are you talking about craft singles?
Correct. Yes. No, I'll go to Boar's Head and I'll get, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll allow it. Look at Mary saying thanks for pronouncing mozzarella. I don't know about mozzarella. Is that Yiddish? Mozzarella. I say a mozzarella, like a mutz. Some people say mutz. Oh my gosh, mozzarella. Yeah.
Love it.
Yes, mozzarella. Maybe it does sound like that, Mary. Sheesh. It's so funny. So I grew up in New York, and I joke. I say I was raised Italian because I was raised by an Italian guy from Brooklyn. It was my first stepfather. Right, it's a long story. Okay. Anyway, point being is, he was very Italian. So I grew up with all of the bastardization of the Italian language, as like the Italian American mispronunciation. You know what I mean?
I love it.
You know, yeah. So it's like manicotti, right? It's like manigut. You know, manigut. You know, I was like, what does that mean? I don't
What is that? I don't even know how to spell that. What?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a guttural sound, like a vomiting. Anyway, all right. Next, corporate housing instead of a hotel. Where do you stand?
Oh, come on, corporate housing all the way. I mean, that
overrated or underrated?
I think it's well, if people keep going to hotels versus corporate housing, that itself is underrated, I think, because we oftentimes can, I mean, I can't tell you how many companies I've talked to that still don't even realize we're a thing. And when they see even our prices in the summer compared to what they're paying for hotels, sometimes they're like, oh, this is a no-brainer. We have to go try corporate housing. And to your point earlier, kitchens, full bathrooms, multiple bedrooms, give it a whirl, man. It's a great way to do it.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. All right, next. Dirty martinis.
Dude, those are so overrated. Now, no, don't get me wrong. I love a martini. I do. But I think that dirty martinis are some of the foulest tasting things ever. I don't understand why it's like a stinky sock. I don't know why people love it so much, but give me a clean martini with a twist. Okay, I'm there, but don't
twist
you dare
of what?
Put
Twist
olive
of lemon?
Juice. Yep, just a little. Yeah, just.
So are you like a no olive in your martini guy?
Yeah, no, I'm just give it to me straight. Yep.
I get that. Are you a no vermouth in your martini guy? Are you like
Oh no,
a
but
super
just
dry, just look at the
yeah,
bottle kind of thing?
yeah, just a little spray, and that's it, really. Yeah, not much.
Spritz.
Yep, a little goes a long way.
All right. I'll leave that there. All right. Next, the perfect Manhattan.
Now that is underrated. You tell me, a nice evening cocktail. As you can see, I do enjoy my cocktail, and the perfect Manhattan. Oh, I'll take that every time I
People
can.
understand the difference between a Manhattan and an old fashioned.
Oh, well, we don't do sugar in it. You don't have to do. I mean, it's honestly usually bourbon with the
Or
sweet
rye.
vermouth versus the dry vermouth, or rye. Yeah, but it's primarily that with a little bit of the sweet vermouth. Maybe some people do a dash of bitters and stuff. I usually just drop a really great cherry in mine, along with just a little bit of the sweet vermouth. But I'm going after the bourbon or the rye, man. That's my go-to. I'll do it over rocks, but if I can order a Manhattan, I'm doing it.
Here's the thing: do you take it in a martini glass? 'Cause sometimes they do it up like that. You do like that?
I'll do that, and I'll do an old fashioned, and it's standard glass. But yeah, when they ask for it up, I'm like, yeah, I want to be kind of Mad Men-ish. That's what I want to do. Yeah. So I want to look cool.
I do like. All right, I typically hate drinks in martini glasses or coupe glasses. By the way.
Oh, okay.
Or coupe or coupe. I don't know. Somebody help me. But you know what the one good thing about it is? If you drink it out of one of those glasses and you start sloshing, it's time to stop.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a restrictor plate. Like on the limes, scooters, and on the cocktails, you need a little bit of you need a higher power, kind of just saying, hey, enough.
Cool it. Yeah. Have some water now. Yeah.
That higher power could be Deb Convery. It could be the coupe glass. It could be a number of things. But you need somebody, you need some oversight. You know?
For sure, man.
Yeah, this is great. People are having fun with this. People are loving the people are loving the pronunciation of mozzarella for sure. Deb Convery saying Beechers. I don't know Beechers. What is that?
Beecher. It's a cheese. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a cheese. It's like a brand of cheese.
Isn't it?
Or is it a type?
Deb, I'm correct in that, right? I think that's what that is.
Deb, help us out, Deb.
Yeah, handmade cheese. Handmade cheese from the heart of Seattle's historic Pike Place Market. See, I knew it. I just had to really think for a second.
I don't know if I trust handmade cheese. I don't know how cheese is normally made, but
when you hear handmade,
like if you passed me, like if you tore off a nice little slice of American and handed it and jiggled it over to me, and then I were to take it, I don't know how I'd feel about that half that you touched.
Got it. No, I could see that.
Huh. Tanya Maritini lamenting the T Swift tickets are like $3 signs right now.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
That's mucho.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah,
Katie's fact checking us here. Date the interest rate, marry the house. She says, no, keep the mortgage with me. Just
true. Yeah, that's right. Rate. Yeah. See, Katie, that's why I'm not mortgage. I kind of got it right, but I also got it a little wrong.
The golden boy over here is misquoting me left and right over here. This guy was a big deal in banking not too long ago.
What an idiot.
I'm just kidding, because you should see me when I rewatch these. I'm like, I said that. Yeah. Let's see here. Deb saying yes, local Seattle cheese. So yummy.
Okay.
I would like some of that.
Sounds like you're coming to Seattle. You got to come to the next Puget Sound Relocation Council meeting. Get some beachers.
So I got into a fight with somebody at the CHPA event. We didn't throw hands or nothing.
Okay.
Because I'm a gentleman and she's a female. But she was coming at me talking about, I've been to a Puget Sound event before. And I don't know that I ever have. I think I told her I didn't. And she said I owed her $20, so we bet. She said I had. Can someone confirm?
Oh, I can absolutely confirm. I'm on the board, bro. I can tell you right now if you're even in our database. That's I'm typing it in.
So I think what had happened was I registered once, like with good intentions.
Oh.
They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions and Puget Sound registrations. And I don't think I actually went to it. I think it was at Nordstrom or something. I don't think I actually went to it.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah.
So on paper I went, but I never went.
You've been to Portland, once or twice now? I remember with the first one,
twice.
It was on East Portland when I first got to meet you in person. Yeah. So, but if you haven't officially actually been, you got to come, man. Seattle, we do some good stuff up there.
What's the best event? Should I circle?
Well, I just got sick, so I unfortunately missed the one from last week, but I hear that was phenomenal. But we're gonna do something in the summer, and then we usually do something around like the November timeframe. So those are always good times to good time to come visit Seattle.
I could see summertime being good because who wants to be in Texas in the summer?
No, you need excuses to get out of there, man. You gotta
ski-daddle on up to Seattle.
Yep.
Oh, you got to ski-daddle to Seattle.
I see what you did there.
That. Wow, man. Y'all, you know what? I'm just going to license that to y'all for free.
There you go.
Michael James, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for everybody who are just hanging in there. Tammy Jackson, I know you're thirsty. Thanks for hanging in there.
Tammy. Yes, enjoy, Tammy.
This. Deb says if I come up, she'll be on the show. Thank you, Deb. I appreciate that.
That's exactly what you said. Yep.
I read between the lines. I know it is.
For sure.
I made an inference. This has been great. Michael, you want to leave us with maybe just a final word before we depart here?
Thanks for having me, man. No, this has been great, and always great to catch up with you. And thanks for everybody that tuned in. If you have any questions on corporate housing or want to know what else is out there, hit me up. I'm on LinkedIn, and would love to chat.
Awesome job, Michael James from SuiteAmerica. This has been fantastic. Thanks for all the amazing comments. This one has been on the Love and Relo page, so thanks for everybody that found it. It's a little different because it wasn't on my personal. We're going to try to do a lot more stuff on the Love and Relo, so make sure you follow Love and Relo on LinkedIn. Also, make sure you check us out on Instagram. Also, follow Glomo_consulting on Instagram too, because we got a lot of photos and a lot of cool events and stuff like that we're publicizing and giving y'all kind of first crack at on there. People are saying so much fun, super fun show. Yeah, cool. Thanks, y'all. We couldn't do it without you. We wouldn't have a show. It'd just be me and Michael talking. Right. Be like a weird Zoom call. It wouldn't be like fun like this. So thanks everybody for getting into this. This was great. And we will see you tomorrow, right, Adam? We'll see you tomorrow. We got David Toledo and Josh Hyatt on from Odyssey, a couple of West Coasters. Yeah. Are they in the Mafia or no? Not so much.
Oh yeah. They're considered part of the Mafia.
They're like consiglieres or something. They made though.
Yeah, West Coast. It made. Right. Yeah, there you go.
Good stuff. This has been great. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow, everybody. Thanks so much. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you. Take